Alt-right leader Richard Spencer was denied the right to speak at Michigan State University recently. So he sued on First Amendment grounds, and what happened is MSU eventually caved and let him speak. So let me pause here to talk about how, even though, maybe some of you in the audience disagree with me, to this point, I actually agree with them. Because, listen, that's the whole point. The whole point of the First Amendment is not to protect people who say, rainbows are pretty and I love mommy and apple pie is delicious. The whole point of the First Amendment is to protect people who have that toxic, odious, disgusting speech. Because if you don't believe in free speech for those people you despise the most, you don't believe in it at all. So to this point, I agree 100%. Now, his attorney, Kyle Bristow, said at the time, quote, "This is a resounding First Amendment victory for the alt-right. The fundamental right of Americans to think and speak freely is non-negotiable." Again, totally agree with that. In fact, this decision is similar to the Skokie decision when the Supreme Court said that the KKK has a right to peacefully march through a predominantly Jewish town. As long as they're peacefully marching, they have a right to speak their mind and even say gross things. So this is free speech absolutism. It's one of the many things that makes this country good. And you have to be principled in your defense of it, because if you're, for example, a Marxist and you want to have free speech, well, if you're shitting on people on the other side and saying they shouldn't have it, then why the fuck would you expect anybody to defend you? The only way to handle this rationally is to draw a clean line and say everybody can speak. The only things you can't do are direct threats of violence. You can't do direct threats of violence or libel or slander, but those are notoriously hard to prove. And it should be that way. It should be hard to prove libel and slander. So, again, to this point, I agree. I even agree with the alt-right douchebag attorney. Now, here's the twist in the story. Guess what he's doing now? Neo-Nazi Richard Spencer, supposed champion of free speech, is barring journalists from his latest event. Well, looky what we have here. So the spokesman for Spencer's group said, quote, "I have been filtering media requests based on outlets' past coverage of Spencer. If an outlet has misreported any of several easily verifiable facts, then I elect not to grant them access." Wow. Look at that. So your argument is, if they say erroneous things, they shouldn't be allowed to participate. Huh. If they say erroneous things, they shouldn't be allowed to participate. If they say erroneous things, they shouldn't be allowed to participate. Well, that is only exactly the argument many people use against you. Hey, you alt-right douchebags, you say countless things that are not true. All the time you say things that are not true. I mean, Matthew Heimbach, one of the head of another white nationalist party, white ethno-state kind of guy, I remember he was talking about Trump, and he was like, Donald Trump, and he's terrible. He's got Goldman Sachs in his administration. He's doing all these wars, and he's representing Wall Street, and all that stuff's terrible, which is why we need a white ethno-state. What? So all your criticisms of Trump are true, but then your solution is, which is why we need to kick out all the minorities? By your own admission, he's representing Wall Street and representing the military-industrial complex and doing the elites' bidding. Those elites are 99.9% white. So you kick out the minorities, you're still going to have all the corruption and all the fucking problems rooted in the system. So this is Richard Spencer's philosophy too. Ethno-state will solve all of our problems. That's objectively not true. That's factually wrong. You're just wrong. That's not true. It's not true at all. So you're saying something that's not true. It's erroneous. Does that mean you shouldn't be able to participate and you shouldn't be able to speak at Michigan State University? Well, no, when I do it, it's okay. These guys are frauds. You're a fraud. You're a hack. You're a hypocrite, Richard. That's what you fucking are. That's what you are. That's what you are. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. It's the sickest thing I've ever seen. It's the grossest thing I've ever seen. It's pathetic. You use free speech as a tool to meet your ends. You don't actually have a principled belief in free speech. By the way, just so everybody knows, I'm not surprised by this. oh, really? People on the alt-right are not principled in their ideology? The reason I'm doing this segment is to explain to people who maybe had a misperception of it and thought like, no, those people on the right actually do believe in free speech. No, they don't. In fact, the General Social Survey just came out, and there were really interesting numbers in the General Social Survey about free speech. And it's actually, believe it or not, people who were extremely liberal, who were most supportive of free speech. Now, again, you might say, what? No, but I've seen all the college kids with the fucking pink hair deplatforming people. Those people exist, and those people are a problem, and I argue against those people all the time. But statistically speaking, when you look at the numbers, it's actually not true that the biggest threat to free speech is from the left. That's just not true. In fact, the ACLU, which is viewed as a left-wing group, an extremely left-wing group, they literally defended Milo Yiannopoulos in court so he had his free speech rights. So it's not surprising that people who are viewed as, far left are some of the biggest defenders of free speech. Look at this show. I'm considered far left. I don't think I really am, by the way, but I'm considered far left, and I defended Richard Spencer. This segment, I said he should be able to speak there. But the point is, they're liars and they're hypocrites. They use free speech as a tool to say, no. Oftentimes, they trot it out when they make their most odious points. They say the things that are most incorrect and most bigoted, and then they go, oh, you disagree with me on the substance of that thing? You don't believe in free speech. But that's actually not true. So me, for example, I will disagree head on with most of his claims and his strongest claims, his most bigoted claims, his most factually incorrect claim. But I'll also say at the same time, I think you have a right to say these things. But what they do is, it's a sleight of hand trick that they do. It really is effectively a straw man of you. It's a red herring. That's actually the better way to describe it. Because if you disagree on the substance of that, they go, oh, I guess you don't believe in my free speech. No, I actually do totally believe in your free speech. But I also think you're a fucking idiot. You're also wrong about most of the shit you talk about. So, and by the way, now you know. Now you know. So it's clear that whenever it's them, oh, my free speech, oh my God, let me talk. Oh, now we have the ability to talk at this school? Let's ban media outlets. You fucking hypocrites. You know what the First Amendment protects? It protects your right to speak. It also protects the media's right to cover you. And they'll go into a tap dance and they'll try to rationalize it. But it's a private event and blah, 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 blah. These are the same people who, Twitter, private company, decided to ban Richard Spencer. What did they argue? Free speech! Free speech! But hold on, Twitter's a private company. So you just said the same thing. Oh, it's a private event. Private event. That's why we get to ban people who we don't want in there. That was Twitter's argument. Private company. We get to ban who we don't want in here. No. Either you believe in the principle of free speech or you don't. So if you believe in the principle of it, it doesn't matter if it's a private event. You should still let them come and cover you. 100%. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't matter to Twitter. Oh, you're a bigoted asshole. Okay, let his stuff out there. Most people will be disgusted by it and turn away. No reason to ban him. So do you believe in the principle of free speech or you don't? Clearly they don't. That's why they're banning fucking outlets from their event. Because they're sick hacks. They're liars. They're not principled. If you think these guys are principled, man, you're just wrong. You're just wrong. So I need everybody to know that. It's fucking crocodile tears when they talk about free speech. They don't actually mean it. If you want somebody who's actually consistent and principled on it, you come to this show.